Lucky Boys Podcast.
Standing up and doing all this is a pause to the system. But how do you change the system?
Exactly what they're doing now. You telling me there hasn't been sweeping changes?
I don't think that changes anything.
The marching, the protesting, you don't think it's...
I'll tell you why I don't... I'll tell you why I don't think
leading to anything.
I'll tell you why I don't fundamentally think it's going to change anything. I'll tell you why. It's because this may cause police to be defunded. It may cause adverse effects to the community itself on a local level if we do things too much to the other side. Killing that person as a cop is terrible. So now we're going to fight him and take everything away and punish him like crazy. You're telling me that's going to solve the problem?
No, that's not the solution.
Stop and frisk. Good or bad?
Bad.
Bad. But is it effective?
Was it effective in terms of lowering crime?
Is it effective in lowering crime?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So both of you agree. I disagree because I don't.
So then you're saying that they should have stop and frisk then?
I'm not okay with you. If I'm walking across the street and I'm minding my own business, I'm not okay with you abusing me. I'm not okay with that. Okay? That's totally and I'm not okay for you to do that for somebody else. So we need to do better. I think we just need to figure out a better way.
Yeah,
is it harder?
Better way. That wasn't a right policy to implement to
But
lower.
what I'm trying to say to you is how do we get to that better way?
I don't know. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawmaker.
Would you
I'm
say
not
that
a police
it's not
officer.
even just
that's
a politician
level?
level?
That's not even in my wheelhouse to answer.
So,
but what I can say that is not the right way.
But what you can saying is you're saying what's obvious. Everybody knows that answer. Of doing the right thing.
That's the problem. It's that you think it's obvious, but it's not. To a lot of people, stop and frisk, they think it's cool. It's good as long as it's not happening to them.
Here's the thing. I think that everyone wants the best, but nobody knows the solution to get to the best.
We have to be careful to be threatened by people who say, if you fight back, we will therefore take away this. We have to be careful of that. We have to be careful. We cannot live in fear. If we need to fight for what's right for everybody.
So my question is fight.
True.
How are you going to fight?
We have to be willing to take a stand.
But these are all theories.
These aren't theories. I'm not speaking hypothetically. I am speaking.
Taking a stand is only causing. I'll give you another example. Buffalo, they did something terrible. They knocked over a 75-year-old and he made him bleed on the floor.
Cracked his head.
Right. And what happened was the government acted right away and did the right thing, which is put those guys in some
two
sort
of the
Buffalo
police officers and being charged.
And then what was the result? What happened?
Was it 57 resigned?
Resigned.
Was it 75?
No, I think it was 75, right?
57, something
whatever
like that.
number.
But they resigned from
the entire emergency team, response team.
But they resigned from the response team.
Right.
They're still police officers.
Still police officers.
Now let me ask you a question.
They didn't resign from the force. They just resigned from.
So let me ask you a question.
From that label.
What if we end up coming up with so many rules that these people just resign? What do we do then? I'm not saying that is the right answer. I'm saying that we need to be cognitive of all sides.
No. They're not going to make up insane rules just to make sure that the police don't do things that do more harm.
Of course they are.
They're going to make up rules.
By people standing up right now, they're causing politicians to really reconsider and come up with major reform.
Which is a good thing.
Is going to punish the crap out of these people.
You mean treat them like they treat me if I were to kill someone?
That's correct. So when
that's a good thing. That's not insane.
So
How is that
insane?
It's insane not to do that.
So when human beings,
if they kill someone that's innocent, they should not get 1 year.
So when human beings say, you know what, this is too risky for me, I don't want to be a cop anymore.
Then don't.
Then what do we do?
Then don't be a cop. If you're afraid,
if you're
afraid of killing an innocent man, and being punished for it, then don't be a cop.
So
that's good. It stops people like that from being cops.
So then
that's a good law.
Then the next question is, if there are not enough cops, how do we get cops?
We talked about that. You gotta
raise the money,
raise the bar.
Right. You gotta raise the bar and raise the pay.
So what if even at $150,000 nobody wants to join? Then what?
Well, that's hypothetical. You know,
That's extremely hypothetical.
If a job is paying me $150,000,
Bro, are you kidding me? If
I'll go for
I'll
it.
skip college altogether. If
Well,
I was 18,
Wait. This is including pension benefits and everything.
Of
like
course,
that.
of course,
Okay.
everything that comes
Yeah, it's
along
a
with a
good career
government job.
then.
It's a fantastic career.
So then,
That will attract the
so then
applicants.
my
and if I was 18,
So then my
I
next
would have
question
been all
is,
down for that action.
What about municipalities that don't have the money to afford stuff like this? Where these municipalities actually need it the most.
Well, that's where federal funding comes in, right?
Okay. So then I guess what really has to come down is we need to really think about all sides.
The camera crapped out, so we just jump back on. But
Sure.
I think we agree that what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right, and we just want better way to move forward.
Correct.
Where we differ is how we do it. Am I correct there?
No.
Okay.
I agree full-heartedly with everything that you say. It's important for people to stand up and say something. How I differ is I'm asking people to really do their research on their own and to figure out on their own local community level, because we all live somewhere, right? We all have homes somewhere. And what we need to do is get involved in the community and make a stand there.
And that's what people are doing.
Because people should really go down to the local level and really attend their community board meetings and voice their opinions and try to make a change there.
But what if that's not enough?
You know why it will be enough, in my opinion? It's because if you put in time to care about your own community and give back to your community, you'll be so dialed in on what's going. Why do you think there used to be situations where the town knows the sheriff and the sheriff knows the whole town? I think that we've all been stepping away from this so much to the point where we don't put in the work in our communities, especially coming from a real estate perspective, when we've allowed so much diversity to happen that transactions and sales of real estate properties causes so many different people to move to different.
But does that stop injustice? That's my thing. Like I'm fine. I'm all for that, and I agree with you. You should be involved with your community. You should go out there and vote. Right? You should be very outspoken. In your community on how you enhance it and make it better and raise property values, have better education. I am 100% for that. But does that stop injustice?
I think so. Because right now is the result of centralized police or centralized order in every town. But when it was decentralized, each town knew what was going on with everybody. And when you're selling real estate, especially in my world, I understand that there is diversity in real estate and people are not blocked from moving from one place to another. You cause a lot of different people to move into a neighborhood that don't exactly become a neighborhood. They're just people living in different houses down the block. Let's talk about the Chinese community, because I could talk about that, right?
Okay.
I could relate to it. There's police, and then there's underground police. Back in the day, there were problems where you could call the police to solve some matters, or you can go talk to that local crew to solve your problems.
Okay.
Because the whole neighborhood understood how everything worked. And at that time, there was a lot more unity. Case in point, when I grew up with that Italian neighborhood, they allowed us to be in the community to do the actual fair, the block party, et cetera, and that's why we're labeling the San Gennaro Fair is the Disney version of what really used to be the best block parties, right? And I think what's happened is we have tried to really decentralize and have one uniform order all across America, which sounds in theory good, but it's actually been more detrimental to the actual neighborhood itself, because it causes everybody to be into themselves and not as a community. And that, I think, is what is taking down America today. Now, when we go back to decentralized, you're going to also have the bad side of that as well. Right?
I'm saying I don't know.
And this is why America is so good.
I don't know if that's the whole answer.
And this is why America is so good.
I think
it's because when things don't work, we change. and we go towards the other direction.
Yeah, and
and
I
then
think
when
what
we
you
go
just-
towards the other direction and that doesn't work, we change
Right.
and go back to the original.
Right. But I think, and we're still trying to figure out, none of us has the answers, by the way, but we're all trying to get there. And what you just stated,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only part of the solution. I don't think it makes up the total solution. And that's what we're looking for.
Well, let me ask you this. What about those communities where the cops and the neighborhood actually have a good relationship? How do these protests all across the nation
Kenny, that goes to the color of your skin, man.
really?
100%. That's the color of your skin. Let me tell you, I've grew up in the hood.
What's the color of my skin? What's the color of my skin?
Are there a lot of black people in your neighborhood? Let me ask you something. Growing up in Great Neck, was there a lot of white people too?
The people.
Well, the highest majority. What was the majority of the race there?
Right.
All right, damn, we're having some serious technical difficulties, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Norm. So for those of you guys watching, Norm's camera crapped out, so we're down to just 2 cameras on me and Kenny. But we did talk about a lot of things, and we wanted to make sure that we organize our thoughts here. So a couple of things. Number one, let's get this straight. We all want equality. We all want justice for everyone. We want the right path to move forward.
I don't have a solution to any of this.
Okay.
And this is also why I always say I would never want to get into politics, because you have to do some dirty shit
Right.
to get things done. And I don't ever want to be put in a position where I have to do something that's against what's right just to make something done.
Mm-hmm. In terms of how do we get there, I do believe that we do have to speak up. And when we see something wrong, we do need to speak up. And when there's injustice, we do need to fight against it. I don't know what the secret sauce is. You do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, therefore you'll get paradise. I don't know that. But I do know that we need to fight against evil.
Justice. Yeah.
And I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Right.
We got to do what's right. And, this comes back down to my original statement of integrity,
Mm-hmm.
right? No one can ever work with you unless you have good integrity, because ultimately it's going to be failure in the end.